Hi there, I'm Antonia and this is Rocky, and welcome to Rocky's Pet Products channel. I'm guessing that you've got here by scanning the QR code on the back of your pack, and if not, then I will provide a link in the description below of how you can purchase your very own Rocky's Pet Products DIY crafting kits. So today we're going to be making one of these braided dog leads. Let's get to it.
The first thing that you're going to do is cut your cord lengths in half to create 4 strings, and then you're going to thread them through the snap hook with the darker colours in the middle.
And keep the lengths as even as possible. Not sure if you can see them there on the floor. I do find it easier to stand up whilst doing the first part of this lead, at least, as the cords are quite long and they can get tangled, so it is easier than sitting down. So the first thing that you're going to do is grab your mini Kumihimo disc. With a little bit of encouragement,
you can push your snap hook through the front of the disc.
Like this. Then you're going to place your cords at the top with 32 on either side. And that's going to be your darker colour cord. To begin with as well, this disc might be a little bit stiff to work with, but as you start working your way around the disc, the slits in it will start to open up a bit and it will just get a bit easier. So try and throw the cords to one side as well while you're working on this, as they might get a bit tangled at the bottom and become a bit harder to work with. So this is what your disc is going to look like to begin with. You're going to have the darker cord colours at the top and the bottom, and you're going to have the lighter colours on the right and the left hand side. And what you're going to do is you're going to start with number 1 and you're going to bring it to the bottom right of your bottom cords. Then you're going to start with the bottom left cord and you're going to bring it to the top left. And then you're going to rotate it 90 degrees anti-clockwise, and you're going to do the same with the lighter cords. So you're going to bring it down and you're going to bring this one up, and then you're going to rotate and you're going to bring it down to the right and the bottom to the left. Rotate again. And that is literally how you're going to carry on. Rotate, throw your cords to one side, top right goes to bottom right, bottom left goes to top left. And so as you start to get into this pattern, the numbers won't matter anymore. You're literally just making sure that you're turning anti-clockwise 90 degrees and a quarter turn, and the cords that you're working with are facing directly in front of you. So we've done a few rotations now. Pull every couple of braids and you can start to see this braid forming here. So another important thing as you're going round and you're rotating and you're braiding is you need to pull from underneath where your hook is. Hold your hook, pull, and do this so that quite firmly, so that as you're braiding the cords can stretch.
There are a few reasons why we need to pull the lead from the bottom as we're braiding. The first reason is so the cord doesn't get bunched up in the top of the disc as we're braiding. And the second is that we're braiding until the lead gets up to 95 centimetres. So if you're not pulling the cord as you go along, firstly, you'll be braiding for a lot longer to get to that length. And lastly is that you don't want to run out of cord and be unable to braid the handle and finish off the rest of the lead.
So it really is as easy as that. I remember the first time that I saw one of these braiding discs and I was absolutely terrified of it, and I thought I'm never ever going to pick it up, but you really do get into a rhythm with it. Another thing that I would say is if you do have to leave it and you can make the full thing, just set it down at the next braid. So say that I need to walk away now, set this down, this is in front of you, you know that this is going to be your next cord that you're going to be working with, and just leave it like that, just to jog your memory so that you don't forget that that's where you need to take off from.
Carry on braiding until you get to 95 centimetres.
So we're at the point now with our braid that we've reached around 95 centimetres, and now what we need to do is transition into the handle. So what we're going to do is take the cords and reposition them so that we've got two dark at the top, two lighter ones, two darker ones, two lighter ones. Now there's not an exact way of doing this, it's kind of whatever feels right, bearing in mind that the lead will get covered up by the handle, so even if it's not a smooth transition then it's okay. So I'll show you how I'll kind of do it. So I'm trying to find where you know, is kind of the most flattest way of doing it. So I'm just taking them out and repositioning them. So we're just kind of seeing what works best. So I might end up changing them round again, but at the moment I'm doing the dark light, and then these ones need to be dark, so that one can go there, that one can go there, and these can go here. So it kind of looks a little bit jumbled, but after the first rotation it's not going to look as jumbled. Everything that you do on this disc is going to be symmetrical. We're not rotating the disc for this, so we're going to take the cords in between 31 and 32 and we're going to put it between 9 and 10, and as you can see that's like a crossover. Now we're going to take the cords from between 32 and 1 and we're going to take them to in between 22 and 23. So it will be more clear on the next round that we do, but these have kind of crossed over in the middle. So now that we've done this, we're taking in between 16 and 17 and we're putting them in between 6 and 7, and then we're taking in between 15 and 16 and we're putting them in between 25 and 26. Now you're going to take the inner lighter cords down, so between 7 and 8 is going to either side of the dots on 15 and 16, and between 24 and 25 is going again on the other side of the dots. Now we're going to do the two inner dark cords and they're going to the top, so between 8 and 9 is going between 32 and 1 on this side of the dots, and between 23 and 24 is going in between 31 and 32. Now that's the end of this rotation, apart from these cords need repositioning back on either side of the dots. So we are back in the starting position again. Ensure that you keep pulling from behind, and we're going to go again. So we're going to take this one to there, and can you see now that it crosses over more in the middle? You can kind of see that cross, and the same with these. Now the lighter cords are crossing over. Now both inner lighter cords are going down, and both of the inner darker cords are going up. And then again, we're repositioning on either side of the dots and pulling from behind.
Repeat this to create the flat braid for the lead handle. You're going to continue with this pattern until you get to around 30 centimetres and then check back in with the tutorial on how to tie the handle together. Don't forget to keep pulling from the back of the braid so that you're stretching the cords as you go along.
So this is the pattern that we're at, and how to test for suitable length is you're going to fold over where you have made the pattern. So that is obviously the base, and that is going to be roughly the base of your handle. And so you're testing it to ensure that that's a nice length for you, that you've got enough room. Obviously, if you've got a partner that might use it as well, that they've got enough room in the handle and it's all going to be pinched together and tied.
You can make it a little bit longer if need be, but make sure you've got enough to tie it off at the end.
Once you've ensured that you've got enough length of the handle, what you're going to do is you're going to take a bobby pin and you're going to take this off the disc. Now, this might seem a little bit scary, but the bobby pin will hold everything together, and you take everything off and you are taking everything but the two outer darker cords. So you're just throwing those to one side and then pinching everything together and just slipping that bobby pin to like this. Then we're going to take the braid and we're going to hold it flat against each other up until the base. I'm going to line it up with the base of the other side, so here. So I'm going to put this on a flat surface because it's a lot easier to do. So we're taking these two dark ones out of the way, we're keeping these other ones flat, and we're just lining up the base, as I say, keeping it flat. And all you're going to do is cross the cords over, and then you're gonna, so once you've crossed them over, you're gonna loop that through and you're gonna pull it, and holding that flat together, you are going to pull that as tight as possible. So that's there. Now you're going to flip this over and you're going to repeat the same on the other side at the base of where you've finished. So you're just crossing these over, looping them over, and then threading one of them through in just a simple knot. And you're going to tie it at the base, you see? So now that we've done that on both sides, we're going to take the bobby pin out and we're going to kind of comb through these long bits and we're going to make them as flat as possible. So we're going to keep them as flat to the base as possible. Make sure everything's tied super tight, and you're going to flip that back over. And what you're doing is you're making knots down the length of the lead to create around 6 knots on each side. So this is the second one, and I'm just going to pull that again super tight, and that's what you really need to concentrate on doing. The tighter the better. So we flip it back over again. We're making sure that these cords are nice and flat, and we're working our way down. So just crossing over, pulling super tight as you possibly can. Flip, repeating. Repeat until you have 6 knots on each side. So now to finish, we're just going to tie little knots in the bottom of each of the dangly bits of cord, and you can do these whatever length that you want. I think I normally do them about 20 centimeters, and it's best to tie the knots before you chop, and just if you try and just do them at an even length. So I'm just going to kind of have them side by side while I do it, and as you can see, it's just a case of looping them through, and then once those are done, you're just going to trim them again, just leaving a bit of length on the bottom. And there you have it. The only thing left to do is to sew the logo tag on, which if you're not too sure on how to sew, then there is another video that will show you how to do so. So this is your finished dog lead, ready to go out on a walk, and I really hope you enjoyed making it as much as I have loved showing you.